This is 8 huge mistakes people make in old age that destroy happiness and health, and the truth is 99% of older adults are making at least one of them. In today's video, we'll explore these hidden habits that quietly steal your strength, peace, and joy, and how to avoid them so you can live healthier, longer, and more peacefully. But before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments below. Now, let's dive in. Number 1. Neglecting physical health. Decline in old age is not caused by birthdays. It is caused by neglect. These words come from Dr. Walter Bortz, one of America's most respected geriatric physicians at Stanford University, and they serve as a wake-up call. Far too often, the frailty, fatigue, and loss of independence that many associate with getting older are not inevitable results of aging, but the predictable consequences of ignoring the body's needs. When physical health is neglected, years are not just lost from life. Life itself is drained from the years that remain. Science leaves no room for doubt. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, older adults who remain active reduce their risk of premature death by nearly 1/3 compared to those who live sedentary lives. The Harvard Alumni Health Study, which tracked thousands of men over several decades, revealed that just 30 minutes of brisk walking 5 times a week reduced the risk of heart disease by 40%. These are not abstract numbers. They are proof that daily choices, walking, lifting, stretching, eating wisely, have more impact on aging than any number printed on a driver's license. The cost of neglect is written in countless stories. Take Eleanor, a 72-year-old grandmother from Michigan. After retirement, she began spending most of her days sitting in front of the television, telling herself she deserved to rest. At first, she noticed only mild stiffness, but within 2 years she struggled to stand from a chair without help. One morning she fell in her kitchen, breaking her wrist. It was only then that she realized how far she had declined. With the support of her doctor, she began physical therapy and a gentle walking program. 6 months later, she was back to gardening, something she once thought she had lost forever. Eleanor's story demonstrates what medicine has proven. Neglect leads to weakness, but effort, even late in life, leads to renewal. Nutrition is another area where neglect takes a heavy toll. Many older adults assume that because they eat less, their diet does not matter as much. Yet the opposite is true. The body in later years requires higher quality fuel. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that insufficient protein intake is directly linked to frailty, while low calcium and vitamin D intake sharply increase fracture risk. In one large study, seniors who consumed adequate protein maintained muscle mass and mobility longer than those who did not. The simple habit of adding a serving of lean protein, such as chicken, fish, or beans, to each meal can mean the difference between strength and weakness. Preventive medicine is another area where neglect is costly. According to the American Heart Association, routine management of blood pressure in adults over 65 can reduce the risk of stroke by nearly 45%. Yet nearly 40% of older adults delay or skip annual screenings. The tragedy is that conditions like high blood pressure, osteoporosis, or high cholesterol are silent until they cause serious damage. By the time symptoms appear, it is often too late to prevent complications. Regular checkups and screenings are not inconveniences. They are lifelines. Safety is perhaps the most overlooked reason why physical health matters. Falls remain the leading cause of injury-related death among Americans over 65. Weak muscles, poor balance, and reduced mobility transform a simple stumble into a life-changing event. One fall can take away independence permanently. Yet strength training, balance exercises, and vision checks can dramatically reduce fall risk. Think of these measures as the seatbelts of aging. They do not stop accidents from happening, but they prevent those accidents from becoming catastrophes. The lesson is urgent but hopeful. Decline is not destiny. Every walk taken, every piece of fresh food chosen over processed junk, every preventive screening attended, and every small effort to keep moving writes a different story of aging. The body is resilient, and science confirms that even modest changes create profound improvements. The call to action is clear. Begin with one step. Walk around the block after dinner. Schedule the checkup that has been delayed. Add one serving of vegetables to tomorrow's plate, or lift light weights while watching the evening news. These are not trivial gestures. They are investments in strength, independence, and the freedom to keep doing the things that bring joy. Neglecting physical health is the most common mistake of old age, but it is also the most reversible. Remember the warning of Dr. Bortz. Decline is not caused by birthdays. It is caused by neglect. And the remedy, available to every older adult in America today, is care, attention, and the choice to move, eat well, and protect the body that carries life forward. Number 2, isolating from friends and family. Loneliness kills. These are not the words of a poet, but the conclusion of a landmark study published in Perspectives on Psychological Science. Researchers found that chronic social isolation increases the risk of premature death by as much as 29%, a risk comparable to obesity and even greater than physical inactivity. The truth is both shocking and undeniable. Human beings are wired for connection, and when that connection fades, the mind and body suffer in ways as damaging as any chronic disease. Science has shown that isolation accelerates cognitive decline, raises the risk of depression, and weakens the immune system. According to the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, nearly 1 in 4 adults aged 65 and older in the United States is socially isolated. The effects are not merely emotional, they are physical. Prolonged loneliness has been linked to a 32% increase in the risk of stroke and a 64% increase in the risk of dementia. The body interprets isolation as a state of danger, raising stress hormones, blood pressure, and inflammation, which together erode health over time. The cost of isolation is best understood through real lives. Consider Margaret, a 76-year-old widow from Pennsylvania. After her husband passed away, she slowly stopped attending church, convinced that she did not want to burden others with her grief. Weeks turned into months, and before long her days were marked only by silence and television reruns. Her mood darkened, her energy plummeted, and even her memory began to slip. When her doctor asked about her social life, she admitted she had not spoken to a friend in over a month. He encouraged her to join a senior book club at the library. Reluctant at first, she attended one meeting and found herself welcomed by strangers who soon became companions. Within 6 months, she reported laughing more, feeling sharper, and even sleeping better. What changed was not medication, but connection. Isolation is not just about absence of people, it is about absence of purpose. When older adults withdraw, they lose not only company, but also the sense of being needed, valued, and loved. This loss of purpose is dangerous because purpose itself is medicine. A study from Rush University Medical Center in Chicago found that older adults with a strong sense of purpose had a 30% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Relationships create purpose. They remind a person that their wisdom, stories, and presence matter. Without them, even the healthiest body feels empty. Technology, when embraced, offers a powerful antidote. While many seniors resist digital tools, research shows that older adults who learn to use video calls and online communities report lower rates of depression and stronger connections with family. A 2020 Pew Research survey revealed that nearly 60% of Americans over 65 who use social media said it made them feel more connected to loved ones. The barrier is not age, but willingness to adapt. Learning to use a tablet to see a grandchild smile or joining a virtual class can bridge miles and restore joy. Safety must also be addressed. Isolation increases vulnerability. Seniors who live alone are less likely to seek help in emergencies, less likely to notice early signs of illness, and more likely to fall victim to scams due to lack of social support. Community engagement is not only about emotional well-being, it is a critical layer of protection. Neighbors, friends, and community members act as a safety net, noticing changes, offering rides to appointments, or simply checking in. These small interactions prevent accidents and save lives. The lesson from science and real life is clear. Isolation is not harmless solitude. It is a health risk on par with the most dangerous diseases. Yet the cure is simple and profoundly human. Reach out, join a group, pick up the phone, knock on a neighbor's door, or learn to use video calling. Even one meaningful interaction a week can begin to reverse the damage. Connection restores vitality, sharpens memory, strengthens immunity, and most importantly, renews the joy of living. The action to take today is straightforward. Make a plan to connect, schedule a call with a friend, attend one community event, or learn one new digital skill to stay in touch. Connection is not a luxury, it is a prescription for longer, healthier, and happier living. The science is certain, and the stories are real. Isolation destroys, but connection heals. The choice each day is whether to drift into silence or to step back into the circle of human life. Number 3. Refusing to adapt to change. A tree that refuses to bend in the storm will eventually break, while the one that sways with the wind survives. The same is true of aging. In the natural world, adaptability is the very essence of survival. Yet many older adults resist the changes that come with modern life. Refusing to adapt does not stop the storm. It simply makes life harder, lonelier, and more dangerous. In today's America, where technology shapes communication, healthcare, and even safety, flexibility is not optional. It is a lifeline. Scientific research underscores this truth. A 2019 study in the Journals of Gerontology found that older adults who adapted positively to new technologies and lifestyle changes reported higher levels of life satisfaction, stronger cognitive performance, and reduced rates of depression. Resistance, by contrast, was strongly linked to frustration, isolation, and accelerated cognitive decline. Adaptability is not about keeping up with trends. It is about protecting mental health and independence in a rapidly evolving society. Consider Albert, a 78-year-old retired engineer from Texas. He insisted that his old flip phone was good enough and refused to learn how to use a smartphone. Over time, his family began communicating through group texts and video calls that excluded him. His bank moved most services online, and his doctor encouraged digital check-ins that he could not access. What began as stubborn pride slowly became isolation. Finally, after missing an important medical reminder, Albert agreed to take a technology basics class at his local community center. Within a few weeks, he learned to send messages, use video calls, and even order groceries online. He later admitted that the transition gave him back his independence and made him feel reconnected with the world he thought had left him behind. Adaptation is not limited to technology. It includes diet, exercise, medical advice, and even how relationships are nurtured. Many older adults resist changing eating habits despite new research showing the benefits of plant-based proteins, reduced sodium, and higher fiber intake for heart health. Others cling to outdated exercise routines or reject strength training, even though studies from the Mayo Clinic confirm that resistance exercises significantly reduce fall risk in adults over 70. Medical knowledge evolves, and those who adapt reap the benefits of safer, more effective care. Those who refuse often suffer preventable complications. Relationships also require flexibility. Generational differences in communication, values, and lifestyles can create distance when older adults expect things to remain as they once were. Studies from the University of Michigan show that seniors who maintain open-mindedness in family relationships experience lower stress and higher emotional well-being compared to those who criticize or resist new norms. Embracing differences does not mean abandoning personal values. It means staying connected across generations by finding common ground. Adaptability is also about safety. Emergency systems, online pharmacies, telehealth, and community alerts are increasingly digital. Seniors who resist these tools may find themselves at greater risk during crises. In contrast, those who adapt gain faster access to help, better health monitoring, and stronger community ties. Choosing to adapt is not only about convenience, it is a matter of personal security. What emerges from all of this is a powerful reminder. Resilience is not a gift of youth, it is a skill that can be strengthened at any age. Those who open themselves to change discover more independence, more confidence, and a deeper sense of belonging in a world that is constantly moving forward. So the invitation is this: experiment with curiosity. Attend a technology workshop at the library. Ask a grandchild to teach a new app. Try one new recipe that reflects the latest nutrition science. Or listen to music from a younger generation with an open ear. Small acts of openness create momentum, and momentum creates freedom. The path forward is not about clinging to what was familiar yesterday, but about discovering what is possible today. Adaptability is the bridge that carries older adults, not only through the challenges of aging, but also into new opportunities for joy and safety. Number 4, mismanaging finances. Picture a leaky bucket. No matter how much water it once held, if the cracks are ignored, it will eventually run dry. Personal finances in old age work the same way. Savings built over a lifetime of hard work can quickly disappear if not carefully managed. And once they are gone, stress and dependence take their place. In the United States, where medical bills are the leading cause of financial hardship among older adults, poor planning is not simply a matter of inconvenience. It can strip away dignity, security, and independence in the very years when both are needed most. Research from the Employee Benefit Research Institute shows that nearly 40% of retirees spend more in the first 5 years of retirement than they anticipated. Rising healthcare costs, inflation, and unexpected emergencies can erode savings faster than many imagine. The National Council on Aging has found that more than 15 million older Americans are considered economically insecure, living on incomes that barely cover basic needs. Financial mismanagement is not always reckless spending. Often it is the quiet underestimation of what the future will demand. Richard, a 72-year-old from Florida, believed he had saved enough to enjoy retirement without worry. He traveled frequently, helped his grandchildren with college expenses, and dined out often. By his late 70s, he began to notice his savings dwindling, while medical costs from a chronic heart condition grew larger each year. Without careful planning, Richard found himself relying on his children for support, something he had promised himself would never happen. He later admitted that had he created a long-term budget and adjusted his spending earlier, he could have preserved both his independence and his peace of mind. Another threat comes from financial exploitation. Seniors are frequent targets of scams that arrive through phone calls, emails, or even trusted acquaintances. The Federal Trade Commission reported that Americans over 60 lost more than $1 billion to fraud in a single year, with losses from romance scams and imposter schemes hitting older adults particularly hard. These crimes not only devastate savings, but also shatter trust. A person who has spent decades living with integrity should never have to endure the humiliation of being tricked out of what they worked for. Recognizing warning signs, refusing to give out personal information over the phone, and consulting a trusted advisor before major financial decisions are essential protections. Sound financial management in later life is about more than numbers. It is about health, safety, and freedom. Studies show that older adults under financial strain are more likely to suffer from depression, anxiety, and even cardiovascular disease. Constant worry over money raises stress hormones, disrupts sleep, and weakens the immune system. By contrast, those with financial security report stronger well-being, better physical health, and longer independence. Money may not buy happiness, but in old age it buys choices, and choices preserve dignity. The way forward does not require wealth. It requires wisdom. Creating a realistic budget, planning for long-term care, and setting aside an emergency fund are powerful acts of self-protection. Seeking guidance from a certified financial planner or a trusted family member can prevent costly mistakes. Even small adjustments, such as reviewing monthly expenses, canceling unnecessary subscriptions, or learning how to spot scams, strengthen financial resilience. The message is not one of fear, but of empowerment. Financial security is not about living with less joy. It is about ensuring that joy can continue without interruption. Retirement should not feel like a countdown clock on dwindling resources, but a stage of life where peace of mind is as reliable as the sunrise. The invitation is simple, but urgent. Take one practical step toward financial safety today. Write down expenses for the coming month. Schedule a conversation with a financial advisor, or learn about common scams that target seniors. Each step is a stitch that repairs the cracks in the bucket, preserving not only money but the independence and freedom that make later life truly worth living. Number 5. Surrendering mental growth. Come closer to this truth. The mind does not retire when the body does. The brain is capable of learning, adapting, and building new connections until the very last breath. But too many people treat their later years as a time to stop growing. The tragedy is not the passage of time, but the belief that curiosity belongs only to the young. To give up on mental growth is to dim the light of life long before it has to fade. Scientific research has consistently shown that mental stimulation protects against decline. The Mayo Clinic reports that engaging in mentally challenging activities such as reading, playing instruments, or solving puzzles reduces the risk of cognitive impairment by up to 48%. A study at University College London found that adults who continued to learn new skills in their 70s and 80s maintained sharper memory and higher resilience than peers who did not. The evidence is clear. The mind thrives on challenge, and neglect starves it. The story of Linda illustrates this power. At 70, after leaving her career, she began spending most days watching television. Her once sharp wit dulled, and she often forgot small details, believing it was simply old age. But after a friend encouraged her to join an art class at the local community center, something remarkable happened. Struggling with brushes and colors she had never used before, Linda discovered both joy and challenge. Within months, she reported feeling sharper, more energetic, and more hopeful. She even made new friends who inspired her to keep learning. What restored her vitality was not medicine, but the decision to grow again. Mental growth also protects emotional well-being. Purpose and curiosity act as anchors in life's later decades. The Rush University Memory and Aging Project found that seniors with a strong sense of purpose had a 30% lower risk of Alzheimer's disease and reported higher levels of life satisfaction. To keep growing mentally is to keep meaning alive. Without it, days blur into routine and depression quietly settles in. With it, each morning becomes an invitation to discovery. This is not about returning to school or mastering complex subjects. It is about choosing stimulation over stagnation. Learn a new language with the help of an app. Write down family stories to share with grandchildren. Join a book club, or explore music you have never listened to before. Even small acts of curiosity keep neural pathways alive. Neuroscientists at Johns Hopkins University have shown that older adults who engage in new learning experiences increase activity in the hippocampus, the region of the brain responsible for memory. In simple words, every time something new is learned, the brain becomes stronger. Safety, too, is connected to mental growth. Cognitive sharpness allows older adults to navigate daily life with more confidence, from managing medications to recognizing scams. A mind that remains alert is a mind that stays protected. Just as weak muscles increase fall risk, an underused brain increases vulnerability to confusion, mistakes, and manipulation. Protecting the mind is as important as protecting the body. What this all means is that choosing mental growth is choosing life itself. Growth brings vitality, resilience, and connection. It sparks joy and restores confidence. Each act of learning, however small, is a declaration that the best days are not behind, but still ahead. So here is the invitation. Pick up a challenge that stretches the mind. Read a book on a subject unfamiliar. Take a class at a local community center. Learn to play an instrument, or even sit with a grandchild and let them teach something new. Do not wait for the mind to fade before acting. Feed it now, challenge it now, and it will reward you with clarity, creativity, and the strength to keep writing new chapters. The brain remains a garden at every age. All it asks is that seeds of curiosity continue to be planted. Number 6. Ignoring emotional health. A silent weight on the heart can be heavier than any physical burden. Emotional pain, when left unspoken, quietly drains strength, weakens the immune system, and shortens life. In America, where independence and resilience are celebrated, many older adults feel pressure to endure sadness, grief, or anxiety alone. Yet ignoring emotional health is as dangerous as ignoring a broken bone. What cannot be seen on an X-ray still reshapes the body, the spirit, and the quality of daily life. The science is sobering. A study from the National Institute of Mental Health found that untreated depression in older adults increases the risk of cardiovascular disease and accelerates memory decline. The American Psychological Association reports that seniors who live with chronic loneliness or unresolved grief have a 59% higher risk of functional decline. Stress hormones such as cortisol remain elevated in those who suppress emotions, leading to high blood pressure, weakened immunity, and even greater vulnerability to infection. Emotional neglect, in other words, writes itself into the body as surely as poor diet or lack of exercise. Consider Harold, an 81-year-old from Illinois. After losing his wife, he avoided speaking about his grief, telling his children he was fine, while quietly withdrawing from his community. His days became marked by fatigue, loss of appetite, and constant worry. It was only after his doctor encouraged him to attend a support group for widows and widowers that Harold began to heal. There, surrounded by others who understood his pain, he allowed himself to speak openly for the first time in years. Within months, his energy improved, his sleep returned, and he even began volunteering at a local food pantry. What lifted Harold's health was not a pill, but permission to feel. Addressing emotional health is not weakness. It is an act of strength. Research from Johns Hopkins University shows that seniors who participate in counseling or support groups experience a 40% improvement in mood and a measurable decrease in physical complaints such as headaches and fatigue. Talking about emotions, practicing mindfulness, or engaging in spiritual communities are proven strategies that extend both lifespan and life satisfaction. Ignoring these needs places health at risk. Safety is another reason why emotional health cannot be dismissed. Older adults struggling with depression or chronic anxiety are more prone to falls, medication errors, and self-neglect. When the mind is heavy, daily routines such as eating well, staying active, or taking medicine on time often collapse. Maintaining emotional balance safeguards not only joy but also physical safety and independence. Hope comes with small but powerful actions. A 10-minute daily practice of gratitude has been shown to reduce symptoms of depression. Mindfulness exercises, even brief ones, lower stress hormone levels and improve focus. Engaging in meaningful conversation with friends, joining community groups, or seeking professional support when needed transforms emotional burden into resilience. These steps are not indulgences. They are prescriptions as vital as blood pressure medication or physical therapy. Ignoring emotional health is a mistake that steals life silently, yet attending to it restores clarity, safety, and peace. No one is too old to seek comfort, to heal, or to rediscover joy. Each conversation shared, each moment of honesty, and each act of self-kindness is a form of medicine. So the invitation is simple. Open a door that has been closed too long. Speak to a trusted friend about what weighs on the heart. Explore a support group, or schedule a conversation with a counselor. Emotional well-being is not the absence of sorrow, but the ability to carry it safely. To care for the heart and mind is to protect the body, the spirit, and the very freedom to keep living with dignity. Number 7, living in the past, forgetting the present. A photograph held too tightly fades over time, and so does life when it is gripped too firmly by memories. Cherishing the past is natural, but when memories become a place to live rather than moments to treasure, the present quietly slips away. Too many older adults in America spend their days reliving what once was careers, family gatherings, or youthful health, while overlooking the opportunities still waiting in front of them. Nostalgia can be sweet, but when it replaces engagement with the present, it turns into a silent thief of joy. Science confirms the risks of dwelling in the past. A study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that older adults who ruminate excessively on past experiences show higher rates of depression and anxiety, while those who actively create new experiences report stronger well-being and sharper cognition. The brain thrives on novelty. Neural imaging research from Stanford University reveals that learning and experiencing new things stimulates the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and emotional regulation. Without new input, the mind weakens, and life begins to feel smaller. Consider Rose, a 75-year-old from Virginia. She often spoke of her years as a teacher, her children's weddings, and the family vacations of decades ago. These memories brought her comfort, but they also became her entire conversation. She no longer attended community events or tried new hobbies. When asked what she looked forward to, she had no answer. Her doctor gently encouraged her to join a gardening group at the local park. Though hesitant at first, Rose eventually planted her first tomatoes. Months later, she spoke not only of her past, but of her garden's growth, her new friends, and the joy of cooking meals with fresh produce. By creating new memories, Rose found that the past did not need to be abandoned. It simply needed to be balanced with the present. Living in the present also has direct effects on health. The practice of mindfulness, which centers attention on the current moment, has been shown in multiple studies, including research from Harvard Medical School, to reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and improve sleep. Older adults who focus on present moment awareness report higher emotional stability and stronger resilience against life's challenges. By contrast, those who fixate on the past often feel powerless, as if their best years are behind them. This perception accelerates both emotional and physical decline. Safety is part of this picture as well. When attention is locked in the past, daily responsibilities can be neglected. Missed medications, skipped meals, or forgotten appointments often arise when the mind is trapped in memories instead of engaged with reality. By practicing presence, older adults protect not only happiness but also health and independence. The invitation here is not to let go of memories, but to weave them into a broader tapestry that includes today. Celebrate the past as a treasure chest, but do not allow it to become a cage. Start a journal not only of what was, but of what is happening now. Take a walk in a new neighborhood, try a new recipe, or sign up for a local class. Each act of participation plants seeds of fresh memory. Living in the present does not diminish the past, it honors it. The joy of a family photograph is not only in remembering when it was taken, but in creating new ones to sit beside it. By embracing today, the past gains new context, and the future opens with possibility. The story of life is not finished. Every morning offers a blank page waiting for a line that belongs to now. Number 8. Underestimating the power of purpose. A ship without a compass drifts endlessly at sea, carried by currents it cannot control. In the same way, a life without purpose loses direction, clarity, and meaning. Purpose is not a luxury of youth. It is the foundation of well-being at every age. Yet too many older adults surrender their sense of mission once they retire, once the children are grown, or once physical limitations appear. Without something to wake up for, the days blur together, and loneliness and decline take their place. Scientific evidence leaves no doubt about the importance of purpose. A study from Rush University Medical Center followed more than 900 older adults for 7 years and found that those with a strong sense of purpose were 2.4 times less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. The same study showed that even those already experiencing early memory problems declined more slowly if they had goals that gave their lives meaning. Purpose is not just philosophy, it is biology. Having direction literally protects the brain. Beyond cognition, purpose influences the body. Research from the University of Michigan discovered that older adults who reported high purpose in life had a 23% lower risk of death from all causes. The explanation is partly behavioral. People with purpose are more likely to exercise, eat well, and keep medical appointments. But it is also physiological. A sense of meaning reduces stress hormones, stabilizes blood pressure, and strengthens the immune system. Purpose is a medicine that no pharmacy sells, but every person can create. Consider Thomas, a retired carpenter from Oregon. After closing his shop, he spent months watching television, convinced that his useful days were over. His energy dwindled, and he felt invisible. One afternoon, a neighbor asked him to help repair a broken porch step. That small favor grew into volunteering for a local housing charity, where he began teaching young apprentices the craft he loved. Thomas later said, I thought I was finished, but these kids gave me back my life. What gave him vitality was not a paycheck, but a reason to contribute. Purpose does not have to be grand. It can be found in gardening, mentoring, caring for grandchildren, volunteering, learning, or even writing family history. Each act that gives meaning, no matter how small, fuels resilience. The act of giving back, of being useful, generates joy and pride that no material possession can replace. Safety, too, is hidden on purpose. Older adults who feel useful are less likely to suffer from depression, less likely to engage in risky behavior, and more likely to notice and respond to health problems in time. A sense of meaning makes people alert, engaged, and invested in their own well-being. Without purpose, life can become passive, and passivity makes both mind and body more vulnerable. What this teaches is profound. Purpose is not something lost with age. It is something waiting to be rediscovered. It is the spark that turns routine into meaning and survival into living. The years after retirement are not an ending, but an open field where new goals can be planted and grown. So here is the invitation. Choose one direction, however small, that gives the day meaning. Call a younger person who could use encouragement. Volunteer an hour at a local charity. Start writing memories for the next generation. Pick up a hobby that challenges and excites. Each purposeful act is a compass point, steering life toward joy and away from decline. Aging without purpose is drifting at sea. Aging with purpose is sailing with direction, strength, and dignity. The compass is already in hand. It is never too late to set the course. Growing older doesn't mean growing weaker. It means growing wiser, but only if we choose it. Every day is a chance to begin again. A small walk, a healthy meal, one honest conversation, or learning something new. These are not little things. They are life-giving choices that protect your health, lift your spirit, and bring joy back into your days. Old age is not the end. It's the part of life where you finally get to live for yourself with purpose, with peace, and with pride. So ask yourself, what is one thing you can do today to care for your body, your heart, or your mind? Start there. Start small, but please just start. And if this message has touched you, don't keep it inside. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We truly want to hear your voice. And if this is your first time visiting our channel, or you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe now so you never miss another video like this one. We're here for you with stories, science, and encouragement to help you live fully every step of the way. Thank you for watching. May you stay strong, peaceful, and joyful in this beautiful, precious stage of life.